me, I feel like that's like that to me is not even liking the unity that anyone who's in an interracial relationship is in. That's kind of, to me, that's a slap in the face to anyone who's in an interracial relationship, anyone who's biracial, right? Like, you're willing to sleep with, and I'm just saying in general, you don't have to, this doesn't have to be about Lance. In general, how could you agree with anybody who's willing to sleep with white women and but not have children by white women? Same thing with black women, willing to sleep with black women but not have children with black women. Wouldn't you find that problematic?
Again, as far as his rationale and reasoning, that's not a conversation that I've had with him.
No, I'm not talking about him. I'm just saying in general. Wouldn't that be misogynistic? Like, wouldn't you find that problematic in general? You're in an interracial relationship,
Yes.
and I am as well. I find it problematic that if anyone would do that, would say that, I find that just would be ridiculous, because you're invalidating biracial people. And I don't know. I just find that I don't agree with that.
What is the statement here, so that way I'm understanding, because we shifted gears from how someone identifies to having children with someone outside the race. So what was the original?
What I'm trying to get at is, a lot of people are mincing words, and yes, in that video, I understand with what you're agreeing with by what he said in that video, in that context. You're saying he's not wrong, but when you look at the big picture of what someone's done, it shows to me that he truly, and this is, if it wasn't about him and it's just about someone else, that they truly don't agree with biracial people, because they don't agree with it so much that they made this statement. And yes, you can say, in this instance, you can say that this statement was made as a blanketed. Mhm.
When you say they don't agree with biracial people, where does that come from? Out of curiosity.
By stating that they would not have biracial children.
Okay. That's interesting. I can't necessarily sit here and say, whether or not someone's going to have a biracial child as being problematic in and of itself. I think a lot of people have a lot of reasons as to why they would never date a white person. Honestly, like, I don't know why you would either. But as a white person, but I think it comes down to the
No,
reasoning.
just what does that mean? What does that mean? Why would you date a
In
white
what
person as a white person when you're in an interracial relationship? Like, help me understand that. Help me understand that, because I don't understand that comment.
Because a lot of us have not unpacked, and especially, being in an interracial relationship myself, obviously it has its own unique struggles. And obviously, when you are dating someone who, in the community is very active, very, pro-black, very, like liberation of my people in that regard, when you're dealing with someone who has not unpacked all the tools of white supremacy in them, that can be very difficult, very challenging.
Okay, no, okay. I was just a little confused by the last comment, but okay. So you were having your live. Lance jumps in, and it gets muddied very fast.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the disconnect? Because from the screen grabs that we see Lance yelling at another indigenous person. What was different from that live? And do you actually have it? Because I know you can go to the live replay, unless did it
Yeah.
get banned?
No, it did not get banned. But
So
okay.
you can show us the full one.
It's 11 hours long. I don't know.
Okay.
I might have enough space on the iPad. I might have enough space on the phone. I'm going to try. Like, I'm gonna try. I don't know if I can post the whole thing on YouTube. Like, if I'll try to break it up. But
Mm-hmm.
I will say the videos again that are floating around are very chopped. There were several instances where Lance raised his voice. I know one. He did say. F you to the Native community a few times for anti-blackness. And also okay, to the comments, and also to answer this question, do I agree with certain things that were said in the comment section of that video, or do I agree with some of the comments or concerns that were said in that live from him? No. And to a lot of people who were not there for about the first 40 minutes of that, whenever he showed up, Lance got cussed out by Bree for those exact things. So no, I do not agree with everything that my friends do. Okay, conversations to be had, for sure. But again, I'm not going to put my white face on the internet, on TikTok, calling out a Native Indigenous man, because I'm fairly certain we've seen that before, haven't we? So, but I'm not saying that I agree with every statement that everyone makes. I think everybody has their own problematic things, myself included, obviously. So no, I do not agree with some of the things that were said, by multiple people in that live. Again, I do want to reiterate, I don't mute people. I only block people. So if you got muted, it was not by me. It was either by a Black woman or a Native woman or a Native Indigenous woman. So there were no white people moderating my live, nor was that conversation an exclusive Indigenous conversation, nor was that a space for Indigenous peoples to come to air out their Indigenous business in a white woman's live. And ultimately, that's kind of what it got pushed into. And I used the term, I was like, my live basically got hijacked. And somebody was like, you shouldn't use that term. And I said, okay, fine, taken over. So it was, it definitely was fucking crazy. And I woke up this morning, and went live again, and woke up to a lot of people saying I silence Indigenous voices, and I literally sat there and watched an Indigenous woman invalidate my girlfriend to the point of tears, in my own live, without kicking her out, and then watched her for about an hour and a half not apologize for it. So I think it's very interesting that, and that's fine. If you want to say I'm anti-Indigenous, that's fine. One or two individual creators in the Indigenous community is not going to turn me against the Indigenous community, because ride hard with that. But I definitely think it's a shame that my live, essentially, whiteness is a disease, got taken over. And how dare you not let us speak when everyone was there. And Itty Bitty also had the opportunity, but their request timed out. But then they didn't want to come back, I think, after Lance said this is not an international Indigenous people's discussion, which is what Ray was saying. Lance already said, hold on, what was said about Indigenous Canadians? It was only about the American experience. And Lance said that, but it just, and I said it this morning, what could I add as an American to an Aboriginal Indigenous conversation in Australia, as a white person, it was just that it was a conversation that I think needed to be had. I facilitated it, unknowingly. And it is very unfortunate, the amount of trauma that was exposed from that, and especially the anti-blackness that happened in that live.
I feel like, me personally, if Lance truly wanted to have the conversation, then why not jump? And he knows you are a white person, right? So why hop in your live and have any discussion that is about indigenous? If he cared any bit about any blowback that may hit your way or hit anybody's way, me personally, I don't see why he wouldn't get on his own live and hold that. He's gotten on his live before, and I'm not asking you because I think you know the answer. I'm just saying it just doesn't make sense to me. And even though your live turned into that and it became that, there are people who are saying, as soon as Itty Bitty wanted to jump in, Lance had said, no, don't let her on, or something like that. And so thus she was not let on to the live. Is that, I don't know if that's true or not.
She was, but when somebody joins and it goes to a blue box and then it times out, that's what happened with Itty Bitty. And I had to stop the live several times. I said, first of all, this is not, this is not an exclusive Indigenous people conversation or space. I said, I understand that the Indigenous community is obviously has some trauma, and understand I'm not in any way invalidating any trauma, or nor am I going to stand in the way of saying oh yeah, that didn't, no. I understand if the indigenous community worldwide was affected. I understand if you have trauma from it, by all means.
Mm-hmm.
But I do find it strange to come to a white woman's space to air your grievances about your community. That is strange to me. But
Well, I think maybe
I
because he didn't. I think because he didn't hold a live. I mean, I don't
yeah.
know the last time that Lance was live, but I don't think he's been live since he made that statement. Thus, the only way that people can go, when you see someone is live and you follow them, you go, you don't know if they're sometimes now you kind of do if they're hosting a live, if they're co-hosting or whatever. So it seemed like to me people flocked and was there because he flocked and he was there. So thus he made it a safe space, in their opinion, to talk about the indigenous issues because that's where he was at.
Hmm.
If he really cared, he would have held his own live, and then there wouldn't have been any misinterpretation of where he was going with that or anything like that. He should have held his own live. If he had any questions or if he wanted to talk about it or anything like that, he should have done it himself.
Um, so I think the answer to also answer the question you said before, I think that's twofold and not that simple. So I'll start with I'm not entirely sure that that is the intent Lance had to have that conversation in my live because that was not what we were talking about um, when Lance popped in. We were actually talking about the anti-blackness that had occurred in Ray's live.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, and then to say that the Native community could have assumed that this space was safe with me announcing myself as a white woman and saying over and over again, I'm a white woman, I'm not indigenous. This is not, number one, a
Mm-hmm.
conversation exclusive to the Native community. Um, but also, and I even had to say today, I do not consent to having conversations about the indigenous community and trauma in a white woman's life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, period. And if you have issues with Lance, by all means, please take that up with Lance. And there were plenty of
Mm-hmm.
creators who then turned and opened up a live. But to demand of me that I let you speak in my live, first of all, was very strange. And just shut the fuck up, white lady. You're silencing Native creators while simultaneously being in the box. Um, was very, very strange to me. So I don't think that it's fair to say that Lance made it a safe space or even to assume, because at the end of the day, I will say Lance is not responsible for somebody else assuming this is a safe space for you as an indigenous person to air your grievances. I don't think that cross to bear lays on Lance in that situation.
I just feel like though, if he didn't want to talk about it, he should have not talked about it. And like you said, if Lance, what I don't understand is like you're saying that this indigenous man was okay to talk about it in your live because he was actively talking about it. And
He
if you
was.
didn't feel like it was a safe space that he should have been in, then you should have X'd him out immediately and thus Xing out anybody else.
I think that's a fair point, and in hindsight, that is a possibility. But at the same time, I definitely the fact that he jumped into the box and engaged in the conversation and was like, yeah, sure, he'll have the conversation. I was like, okay. I did not mind facilitating that. And I don't. I'm not upset that I did facilitate that conversation by any means. But what I did want to, the point that I'm making is that for the live to have been taken over, when I say taken over, I mean like, hey, listen, I am facilitating this. So please be patient because again, 50,000 people shifted through that entire thing. Over 50 people hopped in the box. But I literally, this was probably the only chance they would ever get to have that conversation. So I was like, I was perfectly fine with doing that.
But Nuggets, you just said that they shouldn't have felt safe having the conversation. Like I feel like you're taking on too much, and then you're getting blamed for everything. And in the sense, where is Lance? Like you know what the funny thing is? Like for me, never once do I see Lance defending a another person that isn't himself, isn't directly involved in himself. He didn't even defend Witchy Twitchy when everybody was coming after, and still to this moment has not made a video defending Witchy Twitchy, and still doesn't. And like this is what I don't understand. Lance is able to stir the fucking pot and watch it boil over, and everybody goes, "Where is Lance. And now you wake up to a hellfire of people blaming you for facilitating a live, and no one saying, hey, Lance, why'd you jump in the live? And where is Lance? He could easily make a video and say, hey, listen, don't go after Nuggets and Chick. They didn't know that wasn't what the conversation was going to be, but this is where it ended up. And you know what? That's on me. Because you know what I see? Lance doesn't take accountability. He never takes accountability, but there's always people willing to take accountability for him. And in
Okay.
this situation, you are taking accountability for him by saying that you allowed him to do something that other people wanted to check him on. And if he wanted to have a platform and if he wanted to speak about what he said, he could easily push that button. He goes live, he can go in those comment sections. It's a swipe of the screen to go live at any moment. He didn't have to hop in your live. He did not have to do that.
And
He could have started his own.
I'm not negating that by any means. About the witchy twitchy conversation and the comment that was in that live or in that
He did it in the live, but he didn't make a video.
He did do it in the live, yes.
I don't count that as an apology because he has a platform of 2.5 million people. Not everybody saw that live. Not everybody. You know what people will say when they if they go to his profile, they would see that he didn't make an apology for what happened to Witchy Twitchy over the Lowlands.
And what was said in the live to him was, you should say that to Twitchy. So whether or not he makes a video or texts or calls or however, or doesn't, and that's up to Lance. But he did apologize to the Native community, and because there was a section where 2 Indigenous creators were in there. And it was a productive conversation, and he admitted, hey, yeah, I could have done this better, could have done that, and all these different things. So, and I'm not saying that the space was, hey, yeah, we'll facilitate it, that's fine, because that's what this is turning into. And I'm not going to silence an Indigenous creator, Asian creator, Black creator. I'm not going to silence anybody and say, no, you can't get in the box with this person. Once he agreed to it, I was like, you know what, that's fine. I don't mind being here, because honestly, in an 11-hour live that was extremely all sorts of hate speech was thrown around. My white privilege is what enabled that live to stay up, to be honest. My account is whitelisted, and I know that. Several Black creators got banned out of the box. I think one Indigenous creator got banned out of the box. But so in using that privilege and in knowing that, yeah, I did not mind facilitating that. Yes, 11 hours. Yes. 50,000 people. So I understand if people were muted and they're upset about that, but again, I did not mute you. You were muted for either anti-Black, anti-Indigenous, or spamming comments. So yeah.
I get that, and I, like I said, just for me and my history and what I've seen, I just feel like there's a lot of people taking the fall for something that can be so easily cleared up. It's a push of a button for me.
I don't,
and this is not towards you. I'm just saying this is towards him. It's very easy to clear that up. And somebody mentioned, Victoria, who is Native, mentioned, why didn't you turn off comments?
I did.
Okay.
I did. I didn't turn them off the whole time, but okay. Here's the deal. When I turned them off, I had 2 Indigenous creators get upset immediately and said, okay, here's what happened. 2 Indigenous creators, instead of making their point, started going after people in the comment. Well, I won't say going after, defending themselves against people in the comments who were saying anti-Indigenous shit. And so I turned the comments off, and I said, you need to, stop, make your point. Don't address the comments. Don't address the comments. I've got moderators handling that. And then I turned off the comments, and then they said, you're silencing Indigenous people. And I was like, okay, comments back on. And they're like, oh, you turned the comments on right after I start screen recording. And I'm like, I can't see the red dot in your little baby box of you screen recording. How would I know that? So yes, there was a point where I turned off the comments and things like that. But also at that point, Lance was in the comments as well. So it was because he got banned in my live while being in the box. So yeah. but yes, every step we could go, Victoria, you were there. You know, it I'm not going to allow any type of white supremacy in my lives. Me as the facilitator of a live, I make that a safe space for all, minus kids. Don't come in my live as a child, and definitely don't come in my live as a child groomer. We had that happen too. Um, so you know, a lot transpired in that live, and honestly, I think it was a productive conversation. And I think it was one that needed to be had, and I facilitated it with my page that I know could not get banned. And I think a lot came out of it. I think that, in my opinion, from my observation, I think the indigenous community, especially the international indigenous peoples, probably walked away from that for a lot more trauma from based off some of the reactions from Lance.
I mean,
Um,
from what I heard and from what I've seen, then the speculation that Lance was disrespectful, and as you said that a lot of that trauma came from Lance, that people walked away, then that's kind of true. Then what people felt is true, that he was very disrespectful to the indigenous community.
right. And when it comes to you know, multiple indigenous creators talking amongst themselves, like, I'm not going to, just like I wouldn't get in between. I've had, you know, two black women in my life kind of have a disagreement and things like that. Like, I'm not going to jump in the middle of that, just like I'm not going to jump in the middle of an indigenous conversation. And especially when dealing with indigenous trauma and or black trauma. Um, when it comes to like just flat out like just blatant like active racism, that we
Mm-hmm.
shut down. But as far as like him saying, you know, hey, fuck you for being anti-black, you know, aim that at me, and all those other things, like, yeah, absolutely not.
So I want to show you the damage that some of this has done, right? Because of this, there's people, who are saying, right? There's native TikTokers who are saying like, "Oh, I was sexed out, I was banned from the live." And so your moderators and they're talking about that. I want to show you this person here.
Yeah, I saw that video.
Muted temporarily, silencing native voices. I really thought you were different. Going around saying y'all are really anti-black because of a disagreement that happened on your live where you platformed an indigenous man who was been creating lateral violence. So of course indigenous people were going to come in there. And then Bree started comparing herself to the whole situation, which she was probably triggered. I'm not going to deny black people experience blood quantum like natives do. Horses, dogs, and natives are the only three things in the United States that require paperwork to prove who they are. And that was what Raven was trying to say.
And I don't disagree with, you know, blood quantum being a problem and things like that, but the issue is she invalidated Bree. Bree said, I want to leave because I am overwhelmed, because the conversation that Raven and he was having was overwhelming to her, and she tried to leave. And Raven invalidated her trauma, said, no, that's not what's happening. That's not what you're experiencing. You never had to deal with blood quantum. And I was like, first of all, one drop rule, you know, but it's not the same as blood quantum, but obviously, you know, has a different desired effect, but nonetheless. But
who is Raven? Who is that?
I can't remember their full screen name at this point. Raven and Breezy47, before it got banned, are mutuals. But first of all, to that creator, it's interesting that you spread disinformation to say that I silenced native creators when, again, I literally sat there and watched a native creator, first of all, abuse me, and second of all, abuse my girlfriend and invalidate her trauma.
But
And none
Nuggets,
of
do you see like the position that you're in right now? You are forced to defend yourself right now over something that you shouldn't have been involved in. And if Lance truly cared about your platform, what you do, your friendship, because you guys met in person, so you guys obviously know each other on some better level than most people here, then he would have never have continued and would have never allowed that. Now here you are doing exactly what you shouldn't be doing, which is, and I mean by this, I mean by all these videos, they are attacking you, and now you have to come in and defend yourself on this, and that's just crazy to me, that I don't know how you don't see that as a problem.
It's. I mean, I do see disinformation as a problem. I'm no stranger to disinformation, obviously. Hashtag martial law for all the fans that are in here about that. Uh, Kay, or yeah, I saw she's on that same screen name, Showtime. Um, Showtime, I love your points. I think you are always valid. But again, I do have security clearance and I cannot allow minors in my live. I understand it's a matter of days, but that is a legal thing that I cannot do. Um, but I do want you to come back and express those points for sure. So I do apologize that we did have to move you out, but it has nothing to do with the points or anything that you were making or any of those things. Make sure that I'm pretty clear on that. You let a woman verbally attack her. It's interesting that you say that a black woman. Okay, so that verbiage though. So Ray corrected her and was very, very, very like, this is a hard stop for me. Lance did not say if you identify as white or if you identify as white passing or white presenting. Lance was the one who said you are white. And much like earlier, where someone lied on a black woman, Ray does not have any space for that. So she is very, very, very particular when it comes to ensuring that you say it exactly. She did not make fun of your stutter. She did not make fun of your stutter.
Ray, from what I know of Ray and what I've seen of Ray, Ray does not have much of a filter. And obviously, you're friends with her. You may know her better than I do, but um, from what I've seen and how she's operated on numerous occasions, even with myself, she does not have a filter and has been disrespectful and disrespects people constantly. This is my interaction. Now, I can't speak on anybody else, but what I will say is that she has been disrespectful on multiple occasions to multiple people, and have over talked people on numerous occasions. Um, and that's my whole thought on it. Obviously, I wasn't there for that part, so I can't speak on it. I don't want to hold you up, Nuggets, because at the end of the day, I feel like participate. I wanted to talk to you because I see what is happening is that you're taking the fall for something you shouldn't have. You shouldn't take the fall for, let alone be. But now it looks like you are anti-native and all of this, anti-indigenous, I should say, and now and no one, and there's no one to speak up and say, and the person who should speak up, the person who isn't speaking up is now quiet. And a lot of people don't see that as a problem. I see that as a problem because I see history repeats itself, and I see it constantly repeats itself. Different person, same results. Something major happens, no one, and when it's so easy to make a video, they don't do it. That's what I see. And I do want to give other people the opportunity to speak, but I also don't want you to, like I said, I don't want you to feel attacked or anything, because I don't think that's right. I don't know who this person is. Um
Oh, thank you for letting me on. I wanted to clarify a little bit because that whole debacle happening yesterday, was definitely context being left out
Hi, Karen.
in the
Hi,
hey
way.
guys,
everybody.
please mute yourself as you get on, okay? Just mute yourself, okay? Everybody, if you join, just mute yourself as you get on, okay? Thank you, Caravan.
That Raven, Notorious Raven, was already coming in triggered for the words and actions and behaviors that Lance has already showcased within that video in the comments and all that stuff. So then Breezy was very validly triggered because she was explaining that how it parallels with her and her community. So when Raven was trying to explain, like, oh, her personal experience, because Lance's words inadvertently contribute to MMIW because of the type of collateral violence and harms that he is creating. So then Lance was very aggressive to her, yelled at her, cut her off, spoke over her many times. So obviously, if you're getting everybody's all yelling, nobody's listening, everybody's waiting for their turn to speak, you're gonna have miscommunications. What Raven did regarding Breezy was not right, but then when Raven left, when she had to go do something with her family, later on, you had people praise and give Lance kudos for basically admitting that he only does it for the money. And after disrespecting and being so aggressive to an indigenous woman in front of almost 2,000 people, and then having people praise him, that's where I have like, okay. And then I know I made a live trying to respond to that, and I let Raven on speak her perspective. I let a lot of people on speaking what they thought on the live, and we went to a point where how him disrespecting an indigenous woman so carelessly and blocking many indigenous creators who are women, who are Afro-Indigenous, who are gender non-conforming, when they try to hold him accountable, he blocks them. He has his people harass them, mass report them, send them death threats.
Mm-hmm.
So then a lot of people are pissed off at that. So when we were talking about how it contributes to MMIW, if he's willing to treat indigenous women in front of people who don't know the intricacies of native TikTok, of
Mm-hmm.
what he's done, of the type of harm that he's perpetuated already, then you have him coming into my live laughing at the fact that how his behavior directly contributes to MMIW girls Two Spirit.
Well, and that's what I want people to understand is that this isn't the first time. There are
Mm-hmm.
Native women who have reached out and wanted to tell their stories about Lance, but didn't feel. But when the situation with Chelsea happened, didn't feel comfortable with doing it because so many people had already dismissed the situation as a player, as a
Mm-hmm.
guy just being what it is, whatever. And I'm like, okay, but that's not really what is all that's happening. I want to let I speak on as well, so I want to give
Um,
Caribbean Gala an
oh,
opportunity to speak. And Aaron, stay up for me.
okay. So I was one of the mods that was on Nuggets Live.
Okay.
The mods, I can speak for all of the mods. We were telling people multiple times, please be respectful. Please stop being anti-black. Please stop being anti-indigenous. We were checking people for being anti-indigenous and checking people for being anti-black. So anybody, unless we specifically said you were muted by mistake, there were people that were calling people n-words. There were people that were invalidating people such as myself for being Afro-Indigenous and saying that as a result of me being Afro-Indigenous, I can't speak as a black woman in America
Mm-hmm.
when I'm black.
Mm-hmm.
We were saying it multiple times. I gave every single person that I personally muted, I gave you 4 chances. I said multiple times, please be respectful. Please be respectful. Please be respectful. This is your final warning. Please be respectful. If you need to step back, step back. If you need to come into somebody's DMs and complain, I got you. But you cannot be disrespectful. That was the problem that we had. So there were persons that were getting blocked because it was a lot of people, and it was only 3 of us that were mods at the time. There
Mm-hmm.
were a lot of people that were there that were being anti-black and being anti-indigenous, and we were trying to do everything we could to make sure that nobody was being talked over. But nobody is talking about the fact that there were people that were calling Nuggets out of her name, calling her Flower Ranger, and calling her everything other than a child of God. There was
Mm-hmm.
nobody that was talking about the fact that they were invalidating the fact that I'm indigenous, that they were talking about me and calling me and every other mod dogs in the live. Nobody was saying that. But then they want to come about, oh, everybody was silencing native creators. If you were native and you were being disrespectful, I gave you an extra 4 chances
Mm-hmm. And
to
that's
make
good
sure
to
you were not silenced.
and
So
that's
don't
good to
come in
know.
here and lie to Kieran and to anybody and say you were not given a chance to talk or we were silencing you. We were not. Don't lie. Y'all
Mm-hmm.
are lying. We were not silencing y'all. Y'all were being hella disrespectful. And for the people who are saying that, oh, nobody should have gotten mad at Raven, Raven triggered somebody. Once she triggers somebody, we have to stop her right then and there. Because when she said, I need to step out of the live because you're triggering me, you turned around and then opened your mouth and said, no, you have to stay and listen.
But can I say some things too? Because what I seen that Ray said, Ray the Fixer said some triggering things as well, and she stayed in the
Mm-hmm.
box. She didn't get muted. She didn't get kicked out. So like I understand what you're saying, and you're absolutely right. What you're saying in that you guys are running the live, you're trying to mod and all of that. But also, are we not holding our guests to the same standard? Because there were some
We
things
were
that
trying.
hold on, no, I'm just you can't kick someone out the box. So this isn't a question that's directed towards you mainly, but what I'm trying to get at is controlling the live and controlling what our guests are saying in that live is also needs to be acknowledged. Because like Ray the Fixer said some disrespectful shit. Lance said some disrespectful stuff. There's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people who were disrespecting and triggering and doing a lot of stuff, but they didn't get kicked out. So
So the
kicking
persons
out.
who.
So I hold on, because like
Mm-hmm.
I said, you can't kick those out. You can't kick them out. You guys are controlling. So what people are seeing is what's happening in the live. I'm sorry, what's happening in the comments is not the same thing that's happening in the box. Meaning that people can get disrespected in the box as long as you're in the box. But if you're in the comments, and not that anyone should be saying any of that. I'm just saying it's not the same thing. You obviously can't control that, but I want you to also understand the dynamics that created. It created a shitstorm. Thus, as in the beginning, Nugget Lance shouldn't have been there. He shouldn't have been there. He shouldn't have, because like I said, you do, if I pop up on a white person's live and people who follow me go into that live, I know what I'm getting into. I know that there are people who are following me who are going to watch that live. So that's what it should absolutely. Somebody said it should have been stopped immediately, but it wasn't. It went on and it continued on. Now I want to give I Speak an opportunity to speak on this because he had something that he wanted to add on. Oh,
Yeah,
I
we
don't.
even had I
Oh,
Speak in
he.
the
I
live.
don't
I'm
see.
sorry.
I don't
Just
see
before
him.
you
I
guys
don't. Can
do that.
somebody give me 1 second? Okay, let me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here he is. I'm just gonna. Rod, if you can give me a second, I want to get I Speak on real quick. So thank you so much.
We were trying to get everybody to be able to have their own voice and be able to speak. But what we had a problem with, and I'm sorry for interrupting, what we had a problem with was that there were constantly people who were calling me N words in the live. We're calling Miss Jones N words in the live. We're calling us dogs. We're calling people other names. And we were just saying to them, guys, listen, we understand that you're upset. We understand that you were triggered. We do not control the box. The mods, we don't control what's in the box. But what we can control is what was going on in the comments, which was what we were doing.
And which is why I'm telling you that that's not your fault, and we get that's not your fault. However, the trolling, there was people, you can't blame that the people who were trolling the live, because there are some people who were
Mm-hmm.
saying the n-word and trolling the live that had nothing to do with the native community. She titled her live as white, what is something white,
Yes.
whatever. So
Whiteness is a disease.
whiteness is a disease. So you already know that there's going to be some white supremacist trolls coming into the live, and when they see black people and they see indigenous people, they're going to be people trolling. So what I'm trying to say is it was already messed up from the get-go, because it shouldn't have even been titled that. And the moment that he got in there, it should have been done. Do you understand how it created an unsafe environment?
Yeah, we understand, which was why there were persons who got kicked accidentally, who we apologized and we said, yo, if you got kicked accidentally, we were actively trying during the live to try and get them back in.
Yeah,
But
and
what
that's
we
fine,
had
and
a
that's fine.
problem with was that there were people who were getting at us like, "Oh, mods, you guys are silencing native voices." But you can't expect us to sit down and be like, "Okay, we're going to one allow a child in the box
Mm-hmm.
because Nuggets is military. She can't have a kid in the box,
I have
regardless of
no
if you're
I have no
17."
complaint. I have no complaint about that. Nuggets has explained themselves as to why, because of the military, and that they have a clearance level. I have no complaint towards that. I speak. I want to go ahead and give you an opportunity to talk about this as well, because you there's a points that people said you wanted to make.
Yeah, can y'all hear me?
Mm-hmm.
I had to pull over because I was at the commissary getting me some Lamborghini water. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Essentia. I'm not sponsored, by the way. So me doing a deep dive this morning, and for those of y'all that know and are familiar with my platform, I live in Hawaii. So I woke up to a lot of these videos being made, a lot of videos being sent to me, and the respect that people have for both me, Aunt Karen, and the likes. Of course, people are asking my opinion about it. There was a lot of things that clearly went wrong last night. However, what I'm seeing that I don't like and what I wanted to speak to, yeah, it's the Lamborghini Awards. What I'm seeing and I don't like is the absolving of responsibility of both creators as well as the host. Because, one of the things about me, and I said it last night and I'll say it again, my smoke rate is E for everyone. You got a problem with anything that I say? I'm saying it right here on this live. I can say it to your face. I can say it in your inbox. There was a lot of things that took place that should not have. One of the first things that you did when we came on the live, everyone, what did you ask them to do, Karen? What's the very first thing you asked
Mute
them to do?
themselves when they get on
Exactly.
camera.
So in that, there's a certain amount of control that you have to take with your platform. Now, in that, I can understand the position that she may very well have been, they may very well have been in, providing they didn't want to insert themselves into what was going on, which goes back to your original point of, and when I hopped into the live, it was because I had seen one of my Australian mutuals made a video, and I went straight to the live because, again, I don't do the back and forth, he say, she say, let me go to the source. So
He may have gotten a call. No, we can't hear. Oh, go ahead. I think he has to unmute and then come back.
yeah,
Oh, okay. There we go.
good? Okay. Yeah, I was receiving a phone call. Sorry about that. Are we good? Okay.
Yeah, we're good. It's lagging, but it'll get back to track. It'll get back on track. Okay. I guess he's gonna come back. He's gonna come back. And I put a request to talk about the money comment. Okay. Give me Tati, give me 1 second. While we wait for, let me see if I speak. While we wait for I speak to, oh, here he is. Okay, here we go.
Good?
Good. Mm-hmm.
Okay, I just put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Like I said, I was at the commissary, so I wasn't even anticipating getting no phone calls or nothing like that. Holding a space like that, right? This, and I think you put it the best way, the residual damage that starts to happen as a result of, facilitating that space, we got to take responsibility of that. You cannot absolve yourself of the responsibility of that. Simultaneously, we have to control our guests. One of the things that I also did not care for was the consistent invalidation of the massive amount of confusion that was caused as a result of the responses in the comment section. As bigger creators, and I said this last night, and I know, well, actually, the language that I want to use now is as more abundant platform holders, we don't get the same grace as growing platforms. We don't. And the more and this is part of the reason why what pissed me off when someone said that he said that he does this for the views and for money. And I was trying to figure out, was that said out of his mouth? Is that exactly what he said? Because if
That is
that's the
exactly
case,
what he said.
I was about to say, if that's the case, why are we even holding this space at all? I'm about to light him the fuck up because that's not cool. There's nothing cool about that. There's so many different, I'm coming from the standpoint of, as larger content creators, and let's be very clear, this is no threat because that right there is disgusting. There's so much in that video that was so straightforward. I don't care what you think and what you feel. Nothing that was said in that video was wrong. Objectively, nothing was wrong. What became interesting was what was facilitated in that comment section to whereby people started, like myself, to believe that maybe it was a conversation that I should not have been a part of because of some of the things that were said in the comment section. To whereby we have to also simultaneously acknowledge the proximity to a very large situation that just happened with the exact same person that could lead people to the thought process that was led to. Now, when I hopped in the live, I asked Nugget, was the live going to be posted somewhere? Because right now what we have is people facilitating narratives based off of screen recordings. And if the whole live isn't posted, there's massive amount of context that's missing from this entire conversation. So in that, we have to take the word of those that are saying, he said drama gets him more views and money than his educational ones. So that was the exact statement that he made. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna reach out to him first. I'm. One of the things about me is when I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do something. So I'm gonna reach out to him first to have a conversation before I say anything else publicly on that sentiment right there. But as it relates to the live, in that comment section, there was a lot of sentiments that were fostered that forced certain communities to either one, feel as though that they had a dog in the fight, two, that they were offended, or three, that they were triggered. And all of that is valid. And as the content creator, what should take place is a follow-up video explaining and absolving individuals of what the brother said earlier, the lateral violence that was created and facilitated on that comment section, as well as on the subsequent lives that took place thereafter. On a surface level, there was a lot of shit that went wrong. But digging deeper into it as a content creator with a platform that size, it's only certain grace that I, for one, am going to give you, because I've literally, and Karen literally have been through this. We know better. We know better than what we respond to. When I say there's an absence of context, for example, and I said this last night, when Witchy was tagged, he should have immediately, I'm not going to say could have, should have immediately said, this ain't got nothing to do with her, you know what I'm saying? Leave her out of it. But to respond the way that he did in the absence of a fully contextual thought, that right there sent people to the thought process of, and I know it sent me, damn, did something happen that caused this video to be made, that he would say that, regardless of how soft-hearted or how heavy you might have perceived it to be, it left too much room for interpretation. So whereby now, her comment section, her lives, all of that is now going to be bombarded with individuals that, even if he didn't mean it that way, they're going to take it that way. And then the fact that she was taking up for him already don't look good in and of itself. And then you talk about all of the other creators that felt as though, and I disagree, that comment took away all interpretation and contextual.
You got muted. You got muted. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
Hours, right? So there was 11 hours of context. A lot of people who came into the live came in last minute while there were
Oh, okay.
Yes,
It's
we
gotta
can hear you.
restart.
All right. Let me pause. Let me mute myself.
Yep.
Y'all can hear me now? Okay. The reason why I'm saying Blackbird, and I fuck with Blackbird, the reason why I'm saying I disagree that his statement lacked context is because there was nothing after the case in point. And from what I'm being told from my indigenous mutuals is that for this community to identify that way is to acknowledge the privilege that they possess when navigating certain spaces, not necessarily that they want to be white per se. So in that, not adding that part made it seem as though that the post was about her. And then, and Blackbird, the reason why I'm telling you I also disagree is because he went on to clarify that he should have been more contextual. So his own words betrays your thought process. That's what that example right there of Blackbird taking, and Blackbird's very intelligent, and I'm not taking nothing away from him, but this is exactly what I'm talking about when I say something is facilitated that he himself has debunked already, right? But facilitated in the comment section. I took it one way, Blackbird took it one way, and then he clarified that it wasn't about her, right? So that small.
We can't hear you now. It must be like you must get like text messages or something, and then it's like and then you're like we lose you.
Good.
Okay, it's gonna have to like level out, but it's like we can hear you again now.
Okay. Good.
Yep.
Okay. So it right. This is what I'm saying. I keep getting a lot of phone
Well,
calls.
you're
My bad, y'all. I'm on tipping my iPad. My bad. what what we're facing is the consistent amount of invalidation of responsibility. As a
go, go,
content
go.
creator with a platform that size, the fact remains there should have been and or live that he facilitated himself. But what we're doing here, what with what's being facilitated here, absolves him inadvertently of having, and that's not okay.
Mm-mm.
To make a statement about views and drama bringing him more money than education, not cool, not cool, not cool at all. And
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to be a contributor to that. So that's why I said I want to, because there's there's only so much grace that we as mutuals end up getting to a person that's committing these types of things. There's a certain amount of grace that we don't get afforded with having these platforms. Do we level out?
I'm sorry. I think he's muting and coming back.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
we good?
Yep.
All righty. So in that, speak up. That's the bottom line that I'm making. He needs to speak up because literally, what was just me and Blackbird, is a clear example of what took place with that video comment section and multiple communities on this app.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, textbook, open and shut. Clearly, we disagreed on something that he already has clarified,
Mm-hmm.
but should have clarified beforehand before all of this.
And that's and I speak and that's the issue, right? Because now it in my opinion, Nuggets is obligated at this point to drop the whole live, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's if you can download it. She said that it was available. If she can download it, then at this point she needs to drop the whole live on YouTube, on whoever's platform she got to drop it on, because there's too much misinformation. People are saying that they got muted when they didn't. People are saying that that this word was thrown out when they don't know if it was. So that's why the live needs to be uploaded to somewhere so people can have a point of reference. And this is the point that I was getting in, that the spot that Nuggets has put herself in, because now it is, people are expecting this and people want this information. But here's the issue with what I seen with what Lance is doing. Again, silence, straight up silence, letting other people do the guesswork. And that to me is the problem, and has constantly been the problem. Blackcraft, I want you to speak, and then I want Miss Alice so I can let a few more people up on the live.
Understood. I just want to say thank you for allowing me to come up.
Hold on,
But
hold on.
I also want to say, like, oh, I'm sorry, I speak. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. I'm about to hop off because I'm literally at my house, so I want to hop on the iPad and then come back.
Okay.
Okay. So all I want to say is that Lance needs to take accountability. And with Nugget, since she made that space for that kind of show to start, she needs to take accountability on that part. But Lance being silent after creating such a problematic situation, he needs to come out just like how he came into that lady's life. He needs to come back out and address the situation, because you being silent is making the problem even worse. And that was one of the problems back with the womb lands. The silence is the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Other people were talking instead of the main person who was causing the problem. And I just want to address, like how you were saying earlier, how you took all of that hatred and all the issues. And to me, the Black community, we need to stop that. We actually need to analyze every part of the situation. And that's where I'm at this point. We need to analyze, as well as once we analyze it, we need to make it into a process and actually come up with a solution. Because him saying what I heard right was that he's saying that he's going to profit off of Black folks trauma, right? Is
Mm-hmm.
that what I'm misinterpreting?
Well,
No,
no,
that's not
no,
what
not
he said.
trauma, but he's profiting off of the video that he made. Like he did the video that he's saying he's doing this
Right,
clicks and views. So it's just at the
Yes.
end of the day, that is in itself is a problem. What I find
right.
interesting is that this history is repeating itself. Lance has done this
Agreed.
multiple times. I have come to his defense. When him and I were mutuals, I did the same thing. When he said what he did about Jewish people, he said what he did about Afro Native people, indigenous
Right.
people. We all came to his defense. He never once has to do. And then guess who wrote it? And who wrote his apologies? Who met? Who DM?
Chelsea,
Who? Chelsea wrote that one. Who texted him and told him he needed to apologize to Black content creators and Black
you
people
did.
who are Afro Indigenous? I did, because we're always picking up after his mess, and it just shifts. And now, who's the one who's dealing with all of this now? Nuggets. And
Nugget.
now, because Nuggets allowed him on that space, and as much as she says she is anti, she's pro Black, she's all she knows how to do this, she's learned, she's teaching people and all this. Girl, then why'd you let him on that live? if
There
you
you
knew
go.
if you if
Because,
you knew the space, and you are saying indigenous people shouldn't have felt safe to talk to a white woman, then girl, you should have shut that live down immediately. It should have never lasted 11 hours. Let's acknowledge
right,
that. And yes, they are friends. Let's acknowledge that you let Lance on that live hold a voice, hold a spot to talk to indigenous people the way that he did, because you guys are friends. And
right,
like, let's not, because just because I'm mutuals with someone doesn't mean I'm going to let you on my live, or I'm going to do this, or just because you send a request doesn't mean I'm going to let you on my live. You let him
right,
on your live, and so therefore how could how dare you say, how could Native people feel like this was a safe space? Because you let them, you
and
let a
and
Native man talk
I
about the
just now
issue.
want to also incorporate this now. Oh, I'm just gonna say this last thing. As a creator, and I'm just a small creator at best, when I see something getting out of hand, I'm not gonna continue alive where things are spiraling out of control. People are calling each other out of names,
Mute
hateful
yourself, please.
and harmful rhetoric.
Uh-huh.
Hateful and harmful rhetoric is being spread in my comment section, also in my boxes. I'm not going to continue the live for 11 hours. I'm going to shut it down right then and there. And
Mo, you
we
gotta mute
all,
yourself.
oh,
Mo. Mo. Okay, I'm just gonna drop you, Mo, and you can come back. And that's the thing. And thank you so much, Blackcraft. That's the thing. You have to manage what's going on. We have moderators to help manage what's going on in the comments. We, as
right,
the host, control who is in the box, how long they're in the box, and when we let them out. Okay, that is
right.
part
And
of it. Who is
I
Kay? I
just
don't
want
know
to
who Kay
also
is.
add that little part too to piggyback. Don't we also have, like, when we invite people over, we don't allow the mutuals come in. And so if your mutual wasn't scheduled to come in, they should not been there in the first place.
Right, and that's
And
the thing.
they
And
should
the
be in the comment section talking
Mm-hmm.
unless they pull you in the DM and say, hey, I want to say something in your live because I felt something triggering me, or you have a complaint. That should happen right then and there, because the host should have also took a step back and say, whoa, hold up, this is spiraling out of control.
Mm-hmm.
End it.
Yeah.
Because now you have people thinking that this was, one, performative.
Mm-hmm.
You have, two, people feeling like their opinions did not get put in, because now you have people fighting, giving misinformation and all of this, and it's all because of one person,
And and
one specific creator.
and absolutely, and that's the problem. So thank you so much, Blackcraft. Miss Alice, I
Thank
want to
you.
move over to you real quick if you're able to go ahead and speak. That's the problem, though. What are your thoughts, Miss Alice, if you're there? While I give you a second here to unmute, you know. Now I feel like Nuggets has a responsibility to show the entire live. Whatever is the point that Lance got on, and the entire thing. For you may not have to post the 11-hour live, but what you do, or whatever it is that has context, but you do need to post the part that he was on and what people are talking about, and what happened thereafter. Because now at this point, that is the responsibility you have. Miss Alice, are you there?
Yes, hello, Yate. Hello,
Hey,
everyone. How are you all doing?
good, good. What are your thoughts?
So this is something that I really want to explain to the community, is that what Lance is portraying is what we, the Navajo community, call a sunny boy. Now, a
Mm-hmm.
sunny boy is when a Navajo man is being taken care of by all the women in his family, despite his age, despite the fact that he can take care of himself, that he can pick up after himself. He has all these women around him who are going to take care of him, and
Mm-hmm.
he can do no wrong at all because those women are there to clean up after him. So this is what I really want to share with the Native community, especially with Native TikTok. Do not let this sunny boy tell you that you are not indigenous, that you are not from a certain tribe just because of your skin tone, because of your skin color, or because of where you're coming from. That is not true. You are indigenous because your ancestors are there for you. You're indigenous because your grandparents were there for you. And no matter what, you're going to be indigenous. So when we hear Lance say, well, you're light skinned, so you're white, that there is very triggering. It's very
Mm-hmm.
harmful, especially in the Navajo community. Because in the Navajo community, we have Navajos who are very, very dark. Then we have Navajos who are very, really light. But that still means they are part of the Diné culture. And I don't know who his grandparents are. I don't know who raised him. But I am a Navajo woman. I was raised traditionally. I was raised by my grandparents since birth. And they have always told me, Chu, when you go out into that world, you pray for everybody. You be nice to everybody and you treat everybody with respect. Doesn't matter who they are, where they come from, you have to treat people with respect, because the creators, all of our beings are watching us, our ancestors are watching us. What are you going to tell them when you go and meet them? What are you going to tell them? That you're being mean to all these people for what? So when I hear Lance say that, and he continues to say, well, I'm Navajo, I know my traditions, I know my culture, it just makes me question him. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, well, let's hear it.
You know,
What are our teachings? But that's all I really want to tell everyone here. Like, don't let this sunny boy dictate who you are. You are indigenous. Be proud of who you are, and you're all beautiful people, no matter what.
What I think is interesting. I want to move to Tati next. What I think is interesting, and I said this to numerous people who I spoke to during the Loonland situation, because I had realized that this was something before, that he has a desire for white women, but does not want to admit that desire. And the reason I say that is because he obviously have dated white women. He was married to a white woman, and but then as soon as it was outed that he had whatever relations with these white women, right? He immediately suddenly got a black girlfriend. And I found that to be interesting, especially because I think I see someone who struggles with the identity of finding white women attractive, but then also feeling as though they must be a certain type of, it must be a certain type of way because of what they've shared with on this platform. I think part of the reason that Lance did not want it to be out that he was married was not because he was worried for the safety, but was because he was more so worried with people finding out that she was a white woman, therefore denouncing all his claims and how he presented himself. That's what I felt like that ended up being. Tati, what are your thoughts?
Hey, Aunt Karen, thank you for letting me up.
Mm-hmm.
So first I just wanted to say this has all been so messy. It has been like it has literally brought out, I think, a very big issue in a lot of different communities because I feel like a lot of people feel, a lot of lighter complected people already feel like they have to fight more for their place. You know what I mean? And it's been really sad to watch. I
Mm-hmm.
think I when I first saw the video, I honestly was kind of like I knew that this was going to set everybody off, and then when the comments came, I just
Mm-hmm.
was like, yeah, I already know what's going to happen here. But
Mm-hmm.
I actually came on, to talk about because I Speak was asking about the money comment. And so I kind of wanted to come on here so I could tell him what exactly or what I remember exactly because I don't know like verbatim, but it was
Mm-hmm.
something along the lines of somebody had asked him why he chooses to do this kind of content where like how before it used to be very educational content that he did, and it went from educational to very like problematic and kind of a lot of drama. And I had even made a comment and I said, well, because TikTok feeds off of drama, like that's how it is. And he was like, yeah, that he's like, so I had like I would try to push it, but it wouldn't push. Like my educational content wasn't pushing. And so, and I do make money off of my content and my views and all this stuff. So when you know, instead of making the educational content, he makes problematic content because that's what he gets views off of, and he knows that this whole situation is going to, bring money. It's going to bring people to like it's going to bring views and likes and sharing and all this other stuff. And so from that he's going to be able to make money off of this whole situation, which again is very problematic because like you are knowingly causing mass, you know, just a lot of issues within two big communities that have already had a lot of issues. Everybody has feelings, and
Mm-hmm.
this just and then like everybody was like, well, he everybody's coming at Lance and nobody's coming at Miss Jones, and but she's the one that said it. And I'm like, honestly, from my point of view, from what I seen, is it was both of them. They both did it, and they both
Mm-hmm.
co-signed each other by doing
Absolutely.
this.
Absolutely. I mean, when listen, Lance. One thing about Lance, and you guys, if you've watched Lance closely, if you watched his content close enough, it's very calculated. He has never put a woman on his profile on his account, and he didn't. And he has posted videos, and he is doing it in a calculated way.
Right.
So that being said, that video did not just happen by happenstance. Okay, he did not. He pushed record. They both did what they did, and it was posted to his account. Okay, not hers. It was posted to his account.
Hmm.
So but once again, when the whole Woundlands thing happened, you notice he didn't leave a video blaming Chelsea. He left a video blaming Mia when he disappeared for those months, right? So we know that this is a tactic. We know that this is something he likes to do. He didn't want to blame, he wanted to make sure that people had someone to blame, but because there were so many people, whether people believe it or not, there's a lot of people that was defending Chelsea as much as there were people who were defending him. So which would it be easier to blame? He wasn't going to blame Chelsea. He was going to put it up on me, and then he left and did his thing and then said he was going to wait it out.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Like that's what. Wait, what's going on? Miss Jones was. Wait. Ray is in Nuggets Live right now saying that Aunt Karen isn't black inside. I don't know if that's true. Highlights by Nicole is saying that because sometimes people say stuff. But I mean, I
Aunt
guess
Karen,
so.
if you want, I can watch the live for a little bit and tell you if it's true. Because I
Yeah,
have my
it is
computer.
what it is what it is. If Nuggets is and if Nuggets is allowing that, then you know where Nuggets stand. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I'm hoping that that's not true. But as much as Nuggets claims to support black people, right? She's pro-black, right? You're pro-black, then I hope you're not allowing someone to say that about another black woman and not and you study black people or you study black culture, you study stuff, right? Then I certainly hope that that's not what you're allowing on your live. So I that's hold on, let me I don't know why this happened there, but we won't worry about that. So I don't know. Let me go to Nuggets if that's true or not. And this is
They
because
said
sometimes
it's not Nuggets lives, it's Ray's live. I'm pretty sure.
oh, it's not okay. So then why did somebody say Ray was on? Okay, let's see. Okay, Nuggets is on live with Ray. Okay, so let's see here. This is not on this app. And then the first thing you did was to open your mouth and say, "I cannot be indigenous, and I need to stop talking because I'm black." Here, let me drop you guys. Let me flip the camera. In the same sentence, you
Okay.
opened your same mouth and said, "I must not talk about black women experience in America."
Oh, you want me to get down?
Fucking kidding me? You guys can stay. I don't have this. This is not my other account. This is my second one. So follow this one, Jamaica. I just think too, and I'm talking about what Kay's saying. You need to say that. I'm friends with you on this. No. I'm just saying because people coming in or people just watching from lingering from the outside. I think you should always state that it's Kay saying it because anybody will probably assume that one of us is saying it to you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's not one of us. New people watching. New people watching. They'll misunderstand the whole. This 17-year-old was one of the people that were being anti-black in the
Wait,
comments.
hold on. That's not true. They're
Muted her.
talking about me. I didn't even type in the comments.
Muted her. I was the mod because she was being anti-black, and she called Modern Warrior a savage.
That is not true.
I read it twice. There is no reason whatsoever that I'm supposed to sit down and say, okay, I'm good. If I have a problem with something somebody said, I have no problem calling you out. Which
That
was
is a blatant lie.
do. But you cannot
Because
say that you want us to call up Modern Warrior when you're sitting down doing the exact same thing you want us to call Modern Warrior out for. When we were trying to say to you, okay, can you please not do that? I kept saying that multiple times. Okay. I don't know. I listen, I obviously I don't know. I don't know what to believe on that. I don't know because I wasn't there, so I'm not gonna pretend like I'm not gonna pretend like I know something that post a full live then. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's a big claim to make if you don't have the live to back that up. Because there's people who are saying, let's see here. There are people who are saying that that's not what happened, and then there's people who are saying that is what happened.
the people that are saying that is what happened are the same people that came from their live. That person that's saying that is what happened was literally on their side when I was stating that they were mute. Like literally the whole time I was on that live, I was writing things down from what they were saying because I knew that they were gonna lie. Not only
You know
did
what?
I
I don't. Yeah, I really don't. Okay. I'm here. The person they are talking about is in the box with you. Yes, I know. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking to Kay right now. What I'm saying is, if you don't have the proof, then don't make that claim. That's all I'm saying is for them to make that claim. If Nuggets is sitting there and they're saying that, then you need to have the proof to make that claim because that's a very big claim to make about somebody. And obviously, I don't know because I wasn't in the live and I didn't see any of the comments. But the way that Kay is reacting, doesn't sound like that was what was said. And so that to me is very terrible. And I don't know if they misread it.
I know
But
I didn't even type in the comments. I
no,
never
no,
typed
I'm saying
anything
like
about
if Yeah.
Yeah,
So
like when I was in the box, I never typed in the comments, and that's why, because the person that Nuggets was talking about, this is why I was saying that I wanted to be up there with Nuggets, because Nuggets was lying. Nuggets was in there, and I had addressed the comments because the comments kept coming from me. So I had addressed the comments, and I said, "Can you please talk to your mods because your mods keep saying to kick me and that I'm disrespectful and I didn't do anything." And they kept saying that, and then I addressed it with Nuggets, and Nuggets turned off the comments. That's what Nuggets was talking about when they're the comments. I never even typed in the comments.
right. Listen, I'm sorry. Say something to me. Space. That's moronic. Okay. I brought her in here because I'm gonna hold space for her. Okay, I don't know what she's talking about, but I understand what you're saying, and I think it's messed up because if you don't have proof, if people don't have proof that you said that, that should have never been said on live. The Jamaican Black Barbie should have never had said that. If they don't have if you don't have the screen recording to back that up, that's not a fair claim to make. I'm not saying that they did say it, but what I'm saying is you need to have the claim to back that up. I'm going to drop everybody from the live because people want to see what Ray is saying. So let me go ahead because apparently Ray is.
Can I say something really quickly?
Go
Because
ahead.
I want to address the things that were said. Okay, I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget. So first of all, Ray had the only reason why they truly kicked me is because Ray kept spamming to kick me, and saying that I was being disrespectful. I was not being disrespectful. The whole time, Ray kept trying to play semantics with what happened. I stated exactly what the whole video of what Lance said, and she was like, "No, he didn't say the whole thing. He said the so part." Then she stated that I was a minor and she did not want to talk to me when she was talking to me for about 30-40 minutes before she said she did not want to talk to me anymore. Then she kept saying that people were attacking her because I was a minor, which was not true. People kept bringing up the fact that I was a minor because she kept bringing up the fact that I was a minor. Then Nuggets are saying that they did not know that I was 17. Nuggets knew me by name. When I showed my face, Nuggets knew me by name and was like, "Oh, that's Kay. I knew you looked familiar." Nuggets knew me by name. Everyone who knows me knows I go on live. I tell my age. I go on past live every day and I tell my age. I say my age 24/7. I've been doing a countdown for my birthday for the past 2 weeks. So that wasn't true. They said they were banning people that were like just being blatantly disrespectful. They were banning people who were on my side. People were defending me in the comments saying that like this is not fair, and they kept banning those people. I've seen that with my own two eyes because some of my friends were banned from that live. Ray kept gaslighting me. Ray stated that I just because I have a soft voice that I could be offensive too, and I said, okay, how am I offensive? When I addressed that, Ray said that I was lying and that she never said that. She said that about 5 minutes before I stated that. Before that, Nuggets kicked me. Nuggets stated that they wouldn't kick Ray because they were friends. Nuggets said that right after I was kicked. Because people were spamming kick Ray, kick Ray, kick Ray. Also, Ray, when I got out the box, Ray started doing this. Ray said she's stuttering and started making fun of what else?
I mean, I'm hard pressed to believe Nuggets' side of this, and see how this has all changed from now it's Nuggets, now it's all on Nuggets, and there's no proof. You don't understand what I'm saying? You see how this has flipped. You have documented the conversation and how you put it. Now I feel like this is really messed up. I want
And
to.
I got this as well because they're trying to lie and say that he never said this as well. I got somebody sent me a screen grab of when it's happened because they said anti-black, they said no one black people aren't anti-native, and then it was like examples, give an example. I said hoteps, modern warrior typed hotep is a slur while also saying that quote unquote slur.
Okay, so you did type in the comments of the live though.
No, I didn't type. He typed in the comments. They kept typing in the comments, replying to me in the box because I was in the box at this period of time.
Oh, okay, you're in the box. Okay. So it sounds like you documented it pretty well. Okay, thank you. Let me see
Thank
what's
you.
going on because people want to hear it. I just want to be able to. Now she's saying you already knew she was 17. See what I'm talking about? She was 17 until you said it, Ray. I said nobody knew she was 17 until you said it. And then when she went into the box, that's when we said to her, "Are you underage?" I asked, and she said yes, and we said we have to step you down. I asked her age, but
What I was trying to say, and to finish my point, is I think the unfortunate side effect of TikTok, its racist algorithm, and how these things work. Had that live happened in, like, let's say Lance did pop a live, his live would have got banned immediately. Ray, if you would have held that space, God, you would.
Lance's live would not have been banned.
Being banned from a live. I think so. They need proof of. Oh my God. I definitely think the only way that conversation was going to happen, where Lance was actually actively engaged and involved, and was saying those things, was in a space of privilege. Because, like I said,
wait a minute. See, now this is what I don't like what Nuggets just did. Now, didn't Nuggets spend time in my live saying that she should not have had the live? Now you're saying that the live should have happened because you in a space of privilege and that he should not have had his own live?
Yeah, she knew her age. I didn't know her age, but
no, see that now, see that's what I'm talking about. See, this is what I'm talking about. How people double speak. Because she just got in my live. Hold on, you guys. She was just in my live saying how she should have never held the live because it should have been a native creator holding the live. Did she not? Did she not say that? Now she's saying it needed to be from a place of privilege so Lance didn't get banned. Stop. So you got in my face and my live and said that it was basically native people's fault that the live was the way it was. But now you're sticking up for Lance. You see, this is what I was telling y'all. See, this is what I was trying to tell y'all. Nuggets is just as complicit, is helping in this situation, and she is taking and digging herself deeper in a hole in this situation. Now, you said that it shouldn't that it should never had happened. How could you now say that the only way the live would have been successful is if a white person held it, which is you? Basically, that's what you're saying. You're saying that it had to come from a place of privilege. Well, who do we know have privilege? White people. So you're now saying then that your life was good, that it should that you were good, that it needed to happen on your life. Said she did not drop Lance from while Lance was being disrespectful to other people. She did not drop Ray. She did not drop Lance because she is friends with them. So you can't facilitate a live being friends with someone in the sense of where you're not trying to hold anyone accountable. That's not fair. That's not fair at all. So you allow Lance to speak his piece, and when people wanted to speak their piece, they got X'd out, they got muted. So now, how am I supposed to believe? How am I supposed to believe that a 17-year-old called Lance that slur, and Nuggets just lied to my face, and is now lying and is now switching her story up when she's with her friend? You see that? You see how she switched her story up when she got with her friend? But in this live, it was, oh no, you know what? It was not a space for Native people. They should have never gotten on my live. I never should have had them on my live. But now, you know what? If the live didn't take place, the only space that it would be appropriate is if it was for if a person of privilege did that. I guess. I guess. Let me let Mo on and Toya here.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, my dog went crazy because my grand dog just came over, so
Well,
I do
actually, I
apologize.
don't know who's talking because they don't have their camera.
It's Toya.
Okay, go ahead, Toya.
Okay, so Nuggets did say that she felt like she was the person that would host the live, but she made it in reference to Bree. Because she said because Breezy ended up getting banned, but as far as the Ray and the Showtime, I can't remember her whole handle, so please don't think I'm disrespecting her. Goes. I do think that Ray was abrasive. I will admit that. I do think that she was abrasive, but I think that overall, not making no excuses for her, that is her tone in the way that she speaks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think where show is getting a little bit like where she's feeling offended at was I was in when she got in the box. I was listening, right? And I was watching her and I was impressed that, okay, this is a 17-year-old, running circles on this conversation, right? I mean, she was handling her own like a a woman twice her age. So I was impressed, with her. However, what I think was happening was there were she was in the middle box, right? And there was a person above her that was heated, Karen. When I tell you she was heated, she was heated. And then there was a person below her that was just as heated. And Nuggets is trying to address the comments, address these three women. And a lot of times there were things being said and Nuggets will have to say, no, 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 I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to this person. And I think that everybody was just, to me, the conversation went from constructive to who has the biggest trauma at some point. And whether or not, we can argue whether or not Nuggets should have ever did it with Lance or whatnot. I think that's going to go one of those things that, you could flip the coin over that forever. You get me? But I just wanted to say to Showtime, that's why I was trying to get up when she was up, is that I really think that there was a lot of miscommunication. Now, I won't invalidate her feelings for Ray because Ray did come in hot. She did. She really did. And then it did go to a whole bunch of drop her, drop her, drop her. She's only 18. She's only 18. And then when it did come to Ray, that was drop her, drop her, drop her. She's like, I'm not dropping her. That's my friend.
So okay,
Okay.
you were there, Toya. Did she call her a slur or call him a slur?
Did who call? I didn't see that in the comments. And I was like
Okay.
trying to keep up with the comments.
So if
I
so,
personally
somebody
didn't see that.
so I feel like if that was true,
Why didn't they? I'm sorry.
why didn't the mods or anything say there's an echo by the way, Toya. I'm not sure if Toya if it's on your what's going on.
Let me put my headsets on.
Mo, I want to go up to you real quick. And Toy, can you mute yourself?
Absolutely.
Hey,
Mo,
yeah. Sorry about before. I was driving my mom home and all kinds of
no,
stuff was
you're
going
fine.
on. Yeah, I was in that live last night and I was on there when Kay was on there. I was on there with Lance. I think my points I was trying to say, which everybody has already said, but Lance
Mm-hmm.
one at a time said that first off, he didn't like white people, which was really that took me back because I mean, I know he has some issues and stuff. For him to come right out and just say, "I don't like white people," was really shocking. That was true. That was something. And then he also did say what a lot of people said was that he said that no one follows my educational content. I don't get any clicks and views on that, so I'm doing all these things for clicks, views, and income because people like this stuff and they follow me for that. Um, yeah, so it was just a lot going on. I think I think Nuggets was trying to do her best to do the live as well as she could, and the mods were trying their best. I know because I'm a mod, and sometimes when there was like I think there was almost 2,000 people in there at one point when I was in there. There was so much going on. I just felt like I'm glad I wasn't on that one, having a mod or anything. But there was a lot of damage, just all kinds of damage going on. And I agree with everybody. I think we should really cancel him. Don't follow him. Don't like any of his stuff because he's he's proven that he's not in it for the right reasons. Right? He's like it's. I understand it's part of his income, but for him to just put out the kind of video that he does that causes so much damage that way, it's really
Mm-hmm.
messed up considering what his platform is supposed to be.
Well,
I
how?
never got him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go ahead.
How could he say he? So he,
I
you're
never.
saying he's, you're saying in the live. Am I echoing? Okay, you're saying in the live he said he hated white people.
Yep. He didn't like. I don't know if he said he hated, but I know he said. I thought he said he didn't like white people.
Okay, okay.
That's definitely recorded. I know you had in there.
I wish I could show stuff from
So, and I
his past
just
and
didn't realize
his
he was
love
going
to
to
people.
come right out and.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, you say he hate white people?
So,
He hate
but
white
my last
after
point is
he hate
that.
white women. I show screenshots. But go ahead. Go ahead.
But I don't get him anyway. I never, when I first saw him, I just never, like, there was something off for me with him. I don't know. I have this intuition about people, and, I give them a chance and a chance, but eventually the true colors come out. And I'm with you, Aunt Karen. He's made, here we are again, all talking about him. And it's all the, what's the collateral damage is now playing out, and all these people are going against people for the women who are all these races, ethnicities to be going at each other because of his bullshit and his girlfriend's bullshit. It's really messed up. I'm
And
tired
they
of him. He should be
and they both on
canceled.
that. And they're both on that
Yeah.
bullshit. And I think it's
So
funny. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm done. Go ahead. I'm gonna
Oh,
drop out so
I
someone
just
else wants to.
I just think it's funny that this is where I think this is it's funny that this is where it is right now. That and when I
Uh-uh.
say it's funny, I think it's only funny because I've already seen how he is before, how he was before. And I know he's not going to do anything different. He may try to get up there and offer some sort of fake apology, offer some sort of fake this, but it's not going to be any different. What you guys saw during the Woundland situation is exactly what you can expect, which is no accountability, letting other people take the fall, and then shifting away into the darkness, and then coming back when he's ready to come back. That's what you can expect, and that's exactly what I'm used to seeing. I noticed that on several occasions, and that's why it is what it is in this stuff. I'm going to hop out. I have some stuff that I have to do. I will be back on live later on this evening. So if you guys didn't get a chance to talk, hopefully you guys can, and you can join the live later on. Thank you so much to everybody who was in the live, who joined.